to pursue the wealth.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Pursuit of Wealth podcast. Today, we're going to talk about some lessons. So yesterday, I turned 29 years old. I'm jumping into my last year in my 20s, which is honestly like kind of depressing. Yesterday, I got a ton of text messages and stuff saying happy birthday, and I honestly hadn't replied to a ton of them because I was just depressed yesterday. Like, it's my last year in my 20s, and I kind of take my birthdays, honestly, like every birthday. I kind of get a little bit down not because I'm not happy, but I'm just kind of blissfully dissatisfied. Like, I'm always dissatisfied with where I'm at. I always want to be further along in life. I want to be at a higher point, even though really kind of reflecting, like, I honestly didn't even think I'd be where I'm at by 29. 6 years ago, I didn't think I was going to be where I'm at right now. But as you progress, you always move that goalpost, and so you're always trying to chase down more and more. But now, kind of reflecting on my last 29 years, I wanted to share some lessons that I've learned. And I'm not going to do 29 lessons, even though that would be cool. That's just a lot of lessons. I'm going to do 6 lessons. Why 6? Because I didn't want to do 5 or 10 like everybody else does. So I did 6. We're going to talk about 6 lessons that I've learned. And I haven't written down any notes. I've just got my 6 headers, and I'm just going to talk about from my experience, like what I think these mean. And hopefully you guys can take away some benefits from this. A lot of them are business related, a little bit of life related. So hopefully you guys find some nuggets, but let's dive right into it. So lesson number 1, it's going to take longer and it's going to be more difficult than you thought. Now, this applies mostly to business, and I guess life. But over like the last few years doing the podcast, I've talked to a lot of business owners, and really everybody's kind of got the same consensus. Whenever you jump into a new thing, whether it's a new sales gig, whether it's starting a business, or a new job, like you switch careers and you jump into a new job as an employee, you always have this excitement. You're excited for something new. You're usually doing this because you feel like it's a better opportunity than whatever you're currently doing. And you see somebody else, usually you see somebody else that's like successful with it. And so you come into it thinking like, I'm going to jump into this. I know or think I would be really good at this. And, you just have all these high hopes and ambitions. But everything that I've collected is like, it's going to take longer. When I got into real estate, I thought, man, I'm going to go crush it. With 1-2 years, I'm going to be making X amount of money. And it just takes a lot longer than you initially think, especially when you're starting a business or starting something from scratch. Like year 1 is going to be slow. Like you're not going to be able to implement a lot of things that you want to do. You're not going to be where the person that you're looking at, like that's on year 5, you're not going to be anywhere close to them. And that's okay. Just know that it's going to take a little bit longer. Every business owner that I've talked to, it's like around year 5 that things really start to get going. Like you really start to see the benefits of the time that you've put in. Your success starts to compound. If you've gotten a little bit of traction, it's like year 5, things really start to turn a corner. And so you've just got to be able to stick out the time. A lot of people get into something and they lose that initial ambition and that excitement. And, they only make it to year 3 or year 4 when it's like, man, if you just stuck it out for one more year, you'd really start to see the compounding effects of everything that you've done up to this point. So don't get sidetracked. Don't get discouraged when you're into something only a few years. Expand your expectations. Start thinking on 5 and 10 year timelines, not 1 year timelines. Everybody just thinks, this year, New Year's resolution, I'm setting a goal, and over the next 12 months, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and they want their whole life to change in a year. And that's really hard. Yes, there's things that you can do that can, make your life better and progress your business in a 12-month period. But to have these high expectations of what you can do in 12 months, it's like you've only got so much time and resources. But over a long enough time horizon, a lot of things are possible. There's very few things that are possible over a year, but over 10 years, you could almost do anything. And so increase your time and expectations when you're getting into something, and just expect that it's going to take longer and it's going to be a lot more difficult. And it's more difficult because you didn't know a lot of the things that you're going to have to learn once you get into it. When I got into real estate, I thought, man, I'm just going to get my license and I'm going to post on Facebook that I'm a licensed real estate agent. And voila, people are going to call me. They're going to want to buy. They're going to want to sell their house, and they're going to want me to help them. And that was not the case. Like when I got into real estate, I had never been self-employed before. And I thought, man, I'm going to get into real estate. I'm not going to have anybody to tell me what to do. I'm going to be able to make my own schedule. I'm going to have a lot more flexibility and freedom with my time. And the truth is, whenever you get into a new business, you're trading your 9 to 5 because you think it's going to be more flexible or you're going to have more freedom in the hope that you're going to also make more money. And the first year, probably 2 years, 3 years, you're probably going to make less money, and you're going to work way harder, and you're going to work way more than you did as an employee. But that's okay, because if you have the long-term vision, you know that eventually it is going to pay off, and eventually you are going to have more time and flexibility and freedom, but you got to put in the work in those first few years, and it's going to be a lot more difficult than you could have anticipated. So lesson number 1 is just know it's going to take longer than you think, and it's going to be more difficult than you think. Lesson number 2, the grass always looks greener on the other side because of the pile of shit that is under it. And so this is kind of like, I've dealt with this a lot. When things get hard, when you're running a business and things get hard, you look at somebody else that's doing something that seems to be successful. It might be you have a buddy that's selling, product on Amazon. They're like an e-commerce business, and they're like, pumping the revenue numbers. Like, I make, we're doing 2 million in revenue, 5 million in revenue. And you're like, holy cow, what am I doing in real estate? Or you get the friend that's, pushing Bitcoin, or this, they're day trading, or they're trading options. And, you see this success that's portrayed in that industry. And you're like, why am I working so hard doing what I'm doing when I could just go do what they're doing? Alex Hormozy refers to this as like the girl in the red dress, and from the Matrix. And you got to understand that from the outside, it might seem like the grass is greener, like it's easier, like there's an easier way to make money and do something. But you just don't know what was used to fertilize that green grass, like what shit that they had to go through to get there. You look at every business and every venture has shit that you're going to have to deal with. There's 2 types of shit: the shit that you see and the shit that you don't see. And in your business, you see all the shit because you have to deal with it. Now, when you're looking at somebody else's business, you don't see a lot of the shit that they have to deal with, because they're not going to expose that. Somebody that's investing in Bitcoin isn't going to expose their losses. Like, hey, I rode down. Yeah, they're winning right now, but they had 5 years of like, they put in $100,000 and it was worth $30,000 because the market tanked, but they held, and then it raised. Now it's at $100,000 per coin, and it's like, yeah, they stuck it out, but they had to deal with that stress and that shit for the 5-year period. But you're just seeing, the benefit of what they've done now. And with any other business like e-commerce, it's like, yeah, you might see the revenue numbers that they're doing, but like, what does their overhead look like? What is their actual net profit? What kind of stress do they have managing that kind of cash flow? Just understand that every business has shit. Every opportunity has difficult things that you're going to have to deal with, and nothing is perfect. There is no silver bullet. There's no easy magic pill. There's no way to just plant trees that money falls off of. Everything has a trade-off. And so before you just see like somebody crushing it and want to jump ship to go pursue that, understand 2 things: that there's probably things that are going to be difficult that you aren't seeing, and know that there's a trade-off. If you leave the business that you've been working on for 3 years to go pursue a different opportunity, you've got to look at like, does that opportunity, maybe in year 1 of that opportunity, it was better than year 1 of your initial opportunity, but you've got some compounding effects now. You're on year 3. If you give that up and go start over, you're going to have to start over from ground zero again and start building up. There is a trade-off when you jump from thing to thing. So understand that the grass isn't always greener, and it's not always in your best interest to jump to new opportunities. And on the flip side of that, though, I'm like, encourage you to always be looking for opportunities and ways to grow your business, but don't forget, like, keep the main thing, and stay focused. Because if you can stay focused over a long period of time, that's where you really win. If you look at any successful company, any big, I'm going to say billion-dollar company, any big billion-dollar company, multi-million-dollar company, like they've been around for a decade or multiple decades. Like the biggest companies have been around for multiple decades, which means like their founders had to stay focused on what they were doing for multiple decades to make that pay off. It's like you see where Tesla is now. Elon had to focus for a long period of time to make that happen. And maybe Tesla's like a hard example because they had like, astronomical growth. But there was definitely difficult years in the beginning of Tesla. There's stories where Elon was sleeping in the factory, where he was like a month away from going broke because he just couldn't cover payroll. But he stuck it through, and he stuck it out. And now look where Tesla is at. They're on track, or already $1 trillion company. And then when they initiate their AI and stuff, like it's going to be even bigger, but he stayed focused and he kept the main thing. And then he started branching off when that was really stabilized. So don't lose sight of what you're doing. Don't jump ship too early. The grass may look greener, but it's probably because there's a pile of shit under it. Lesson number 3, people are your most valuable asset. Now this is more, I guess this is business and life. In business or when you're running a company, your most valuable asset is your people. I can't emphasize that enough. Like if you have good people that you've hired that are helping or that are on board, you're going to be able to exponentially grow. Bad companies go under because they just have bad people. They have people that aren't helping push growth. They're not taking initiative. They're not helping grow the company. And that's why companies fail, is because they don't have good people. When you have good people, that could change. Like one good hire could double the profitability of your company or the revenue of your company. And the thing about hiring good people or having good people around you is like good people let's say grade A people want to work with other grade A people. So if you've got high achievers, you've got good players, they don't want to play on a team with bad players. I look at the MLBs, like nobody on the NBA wants to play with somebody that's like a D League player. They want to play with other NBA players. They want to play with other all-stars. They want the best of the best on their team. And that's the same thing with business. Is like when you are working with all-star players, when you have good people in your company, they're going to want to be around other good people. And if you let bad people come into your company, it's going to bring down the whole culture and motivation of everybody else. So, make sure that you're hiring good people. That is your biggest asset. And I say in life too, people are your biggest asset. Like your network is your net worth. There's all the phrases, your network is your net worth. You're the average of the 5 people that you hang around. And it is so true. Like in my life, I've strived to always put myself in bigger rooms where there's, people that are way further ahead than I am. Most of like the mastermind groups and stuff that I'm a part of, like the average age is probably like 45. These guys are like, have built companies. They've been in it for 10, 15, 20 years. And I get to hear the lessons that they've learned over those 20 years. I get to hear it firsthand. So I know like, okay, I shouldn't make that mistake. Or, hey, they've been through that. Like, how did you hire your first operations manager? What did you look for? What did that role look like? Hey, how do you hire an executive assistant? What does that look like? How do you grow your company? Like, hey, where does the revenue come from, running your real estate team? Or, I get to ask all these questions and I get to learn quicker than if I was just to go try to do it myself and not be in these rooms. And the other thing about surrounding yourself with these people is you also get to see what's possible. Like if I'm on year 5 and I'm talking to somebody that's on year 20 and they're like way farther ahead than me, it gives me hope that like, hey, if I stick this path, I could also get to that point where I'm on year 20 and doing the kind of things that they're doing, and hopefully at a higher level, because I'm learning faster and I'm getting the info that they have at 20 years into the business, at 5 years into the business. So I can implement that quicker and hopefully grow even more. And then a lot of the times, these people too, if you're hanging around these people, they're going to help you just look at life and look at the world differently. I can't tell you how much I've had like my perspective changed by attending masterminds and talking to coaches. I've hired multiple coaches over the last few years, business coaches, life coaches. And again, they're always people that they have more experience than me. They're older than me. They've done more than I have. And being able to spend, 30 minutes to an hour on calls each week, whether it's me kind of explaining my situation and they're giving me guidance on what they would do or what they've experienced over their life, Or like I have an idea and they're able to poke holes in it to say like, well, have you thought about this? That's a great idea, but we did something like that. Or I had a client that did something like that, and here are the 5 things that are wrong with it. Like it is so, so beneficial to have people, high quality people that you're surrounded yourself with over your life. That could take you farther than I would say almost anything else. People. So people are your biggest asset. And the other thing I want to say on this is, nothing great was ever created by one single individual. Like nobody ever created anything great by themselves. You always have to be recruiting people into your company, into your business. You need to be casting your vision of what's possible. And you always need to be recruiting like new friends and new groups to be a part of. You need to be out there creating a team around you that's going to help you do more than you could ever do alone. I look at everything that we've accomplished over the last few years, and we couldn't have done any of this without the amazing people that we have around us. And so if you're a business owner, like, don't be short-minded. Don't be so worried about taking all the profit out of your company for yourself. You need people. If you want to grow, you need people. You need to hire good people to be around you, because I promise you, I know it seems like you can only do certain tasks and you're the best at this, XYZ. But the problem is, like, if you don't have great people around you, you are inevitably going to get burnt out. But if you can share the workload with good people, there's people that, like, I'm good at certain things and I'm really bad at certain things. And I try to hire really good people, really talented people that are good in the areas that I'm weak, so that I don't have to worry about those certain areas. It's like, yes, I could spend time trying to learn it and waste years trying to perfect or become average at said task, or I could just go hire somebody that's really good and proficient at it already, and I could speed up my process, speed up my road to success. So don't be selfish. Don't be, what's the word? Not open-minded, but like close-minded, and don't have a scarcity mindset. Invest into the people around you, and I promise you that's going to pay off tenfold if you give it time. So invest in people, in your business, and your friends. Now, switching from your most valuable asset, we're going to talk about lesson 4. Time is your most limited resource. So a lot of the time, this for me, I've spent my 20s working a lot. Because my goal was always to, I wanted to build a business. I wanted to make money. I wanted to be financially independent. I wanted to be, reach financial freedom at an early age. And that's all great. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that I can make money. And I have a really abundant mindset. I don't think there's any scarcity in the amount of money that somebody can make. I think you can choose to work as hard as you want and make as much money as you want. The only scarce thing in life really is your time. It's the one thing that you have no idea how much time you have. You could have 10 years, you could have 30, 40 years, you could have a year. And so that's been something that I've really reflected on, especially over the last year, 2 years. We've had a lot of family and friends that have either gotten sick and with various illnesses, and some life-threatening. And it has made me really realize, when I was younger, especially getting started, I was so dialed on, work hard. And yeah, we enjoyed things. We take trips and do things, but I was really dialed on save money, work hard. This season of my life, I need to be working hard and not enjoying certain things. I almost prided myself on the fact that we just worked a ton, and that's great. But looking back, what if that had been my last year? Would I be really stoked on how I spent that year? In a lot of my 20s, especially my early ones, I'm probably not. I was grinding. It was fun. Looking back on it, I enjoyed it, but there's so many things that I want to do still. And now that I'm in my last year of my 20s, I'm man, I'm going to start, I talked to Bree yesterday, and I'm we're going to write down, 20 things that we want to do, 20 places that we want to go, whether it's, tropical islands or other countries, 20 things that we want to experience. And we're going to start just putting at least 2 on the calendar every single year. And maybe one that like is a whole family trip with all the kids, and then maybe one that's just like a couples trip. And because I think it helps us gives us something to look forward to, but then also like, I want to be able to end each year with, man, like we really lived this year. Like we enjoyed it. It was fun. We were present. We were in the moment. And so I think like I encourage you as you get as you're working hard, as you're striving for wealth, as you're building a business, don't forget that time is your most limited resource. So be picky with it. Like protect your time. Spend it on the things that you enjoy doing. And don't get caught up in the future. Don't spend too much time, like building the future where you forget to be where your feet are, where you forget to be present. Because at the end of the day, like we just never know how much time we have. So use it wisely. Lesson number 5, wealth is, man, sorry. Come down with some cough over like the last 2 days, but, lesson number 5, wealth is nothing without health and relationships. And this is something that I've really realized, and it was even like more exaggerated, as I've coached with my life coach. Because he kind of has this metaphor where he talks about a stool with 3 legs, and you need all 3 legs. Like you can't just have your health and relationships. You also need money. Like money is crucial to living, and you need it to be able to survive, pay for food and do things. You also can't just have wealth and relationships without having good health. Like if you don't have good health, what is this all for? Like you're not going to be able to enjoy or do anything that you really want to do. And then again, you can't just have wealth and health and not have good relationships, because it's like if you have money and you're healthy and you're fit, but you have nobody that, cares about you and loves you, and like you're going to be really depressed. You need good relationships, you need good health, and you need good wealth. So you got to figure out how to balance those 3 things. And a lot of the times, people sacrifice those things in chasing wealth most of the time. A lot of people will sacrifice their health and relationships when they're trying to chase their wealth. And that's one thing I've tried really hard not to do. And at a young age, like in my early 20s, I tried to still balance healthy, good relationships. My health probably did fall a little bit. Still somewhat healthy, but nowhere near like the body or the physique that I want. And that's been one of my main priorities this year, is getting my health back aligned, keeping my relationships aligned, and continuing to build my wealth. And that's kind of what this whole podcast is about. It's the pursuit of wealth. And in that pursuit, we want to maintain the other 2 things. We want to maintain strong, healthy relationships. And we also want to maintain a strong, healthy body. Because that's the ultimate goal. When you have all those 3 things in alignment, that's where life is fun. If you're happy, healthy, you've got a great family or great relationships, and you have money that you can go out and enjoy things and create memories, and like that's what there's nothing better than that. And so a lot of the times I look at people though, and they, they're to the age of like, well, right now I'm working really hard, and they gain a lot of weight, and they're like, well, it's just not that season. And sometimes I've been caught up in that. Well, it's not my season to be exercising right now. I just need to be focusing on this. There's just a lot on my plate. But that's no excuse. Because again, just going back to the time is your limited resource, like you don't know if you're going to have later. Like if you're in pursuit of wealth and doing all this stuff and you're like, well, I'll get in shape later so that I can enjoy things later. We don't know if we're ever going to get later. So you've got to figure out how to balance that stuff now so that you can live now how you want to be living, because you never know. So lesson number 5 is don't sacrifice your wealth, or wealth is nothing without health and relationships. And lastly, let's jump into number 6. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it does alleviate stress. Now, this is something that I've gone back and forth with, and I've dealt with for a long time. I had somebody in my life that would, would probably argue that like money doesn't buy happiness. And I would hear that kind of when I was younger. And I always kind of struggled with it because I'm like, man, it seems like people with money are a lot happier, and they have less stress. And so like, kind of growing up in like in my early 20s when I was starting in business, like I would argue like money does buy happiness. Like that's what I'm doing all this for, is to acquire money, and that will make me happier. What I found is like, no, money doesn't buy happiness, but it really helps alleviate a lot of stress, which would prevent you from being happy. So I think it's a catch-22. It's like you shouldn't be pursuing money because you think that money in itself is going to make you happy, because it will not. Money in itself will not make you happy. But it is a resource that you get to utilize that can eliminate like 95% of your stresses. You think about like the main things that cause you stress, like medical bills, vehicle problems, like a lot of the things that cause you stress are when something comes up and it's a financial burden and you don't know how you're going to deal with it. When you have money, like 95% of that stuff goes away. And then you think about other stressors like, oh, my house isn't clean. You go to work and then you come home and your house isn't clean. Well, money could solve that. You could have a house cleaner that comes and cleans your house. Like I feel like I'm working hard and my kids aren't getting the attention they need. They have to go to daycare. Well, it's like, well, if you have enough money, like you can hire an in-house nanny. And it can be somebody that you vetted, that you want around your kids. And so money can kind of help alleviate that. There's just a lot of things in life that I found that, I guess it's like if money can solve the stressor and you have money, then it's no longer a stress. So, but on the flip side, like having all the money in the world isn't, in alleviating all your stress isn't therefore just going to make you happy. What's really going to make you happy is having good relationships and creating memories. For me, it's like creating core memories. And it's another reason why I need money. Like money is a resource to help me go out and create better memories with the people that I love. Like that is why I do everything that I do. It's to have more resources to deploy to create more memories with those that I love. I look back at like, I'm going to hit 2 points on this. One of like some of the core memories that, like we've created by having money, whether it's going to sit front row at UFC fights with friends, like taking friends with us to go do that, going on crazy trips, taking my family on trips and paying for things and so that they don't have to be stressed about that financial burden, but we still get to create memories and spend time together. Those are all cool things that money has helped me with. But when I was kind of reflecting on this, and this is why I put it in as a core lesson, is like money doesn't buy happiness, is some of my like fondest memories were on the come up of I had no money. I was living in an apartment with my wife, now wife. We dated for 5 years, which was another money thing. Like we dated for so long because I wanted to have money to be able to pay for a wedding and be able to support us financially. And so, but like in those years of us grinding, sometimes working 2 jobs, we would take like little vacations, little getaways on the weekends, maybe like take a Friday off. So we had a 4-day weekend, and we lived in Arizona at the time. And so we'd drive to California. Like we took multiple trips to California, and we'd just stay in a cheap hotel and do like free things. We would, we had some connections to like Disneyland, so we'd get like free tickets. So maybe we'd go to Disneyland one day, and then we'd just spend the rest of the time like going to the beach, walking around, walking at shops, not really buying a lot of stuff, just walking around and enjoying the sun and spending time there. And those were some of the funnest times, driving a little Chevy Cruze that my wife had and just dancing and singing to songs. And money had nothing to do with that happiness. And those are some of like my core memories. And then even on like building our businesses and growing like the skills that we now have, I look back to like when we started the brokerage and when we started our team, like we just didn't have a lot of money. When I got into real estate, I had like no money. And spending weekends painting our office when we had our brokerage and doing all the little things that like in the moment you feel like, man, this kind of sucks. Like we're doing all this. Most people can just pay to get this stuff done. But we couldn't. We had to bootstrap it. But those were like that was like looking back, those are some of my fondest memories. And so my one argument to like money doesn't buy happiness. Like you can find happiness in the little joys of life. Like you find happiness along the journey. And that's what I encourage, especially people that are younger, like in their 20s. Like I was there and I got frustrated because I wanted things to be getting done faster, and I wanted to have more money, and I wanted to be making more money, and I wanted to be doing all these things. But now that like I have a lot of those things that I wanted, the nicer house and the cars and the money and the funds to do things, like, but now I'm getting older and I'm like, man, I would give it back to just restart in my early 20s and do it again, because those were the fun years when we had nothing, and we were buying our own washer and dryer for the first time, and it was like, man, we were so proud of ourselves. Or like we were just independent, like we were funding all our own stuff, even though we didn't have a lot of money left over. We were funding our own stuff, and that was like just exciting, taking our own little trips. So like don't pass up those little moments to find joy. And yes, be eager to go out and do more and build your business and build your wealth, but like take time to enjoy the little things, because I promise, looking back, those are going to be some of your fondest memories. Those are going to be some of the things that you talk about forever. The come up, how you started, what you were doing, the struggles that you had. You oftentimes find joy in the struggles. You think about that from like the gym, like it sucks in the minute, it sucks in the moment. Like you're running 5 miles, it sucks in the moment, but like you find joy after. You find joy in that feeling that you get from it. And so embrace that, embrace the struggle. Know that it's going to be a really cool story once you get through it. You just got to keep getting through it and keep pushing. And just know that it's just going to take time. It's going to take time to get the life that you want, and you just got to be patient. And the best way to be patient is to just stay busy. It's like when you're busy and you're not thinking about time, you're not thinking about, you're not thinking about being patient, like you're just busy and you're just doing things, you're going to look up one day and you're going to be like, man, it's already been 5 years. Like that's how I feel with real estate. It's like, man, it's already been, I got licensed in 2018. What is that? Like almost 7 years. It'll be 7 years this year, I think. I like thinking about it year one, when I first got into it, if somebody told me like, oh yeah, you're going to be really successful in like 5 to 7 years, I'd be like, freak, that's so long. I don't know if I can wait 5 to 7 years, but I wasn't focused on that. I was just staying busy, doing the things every single day to get better and to get better at my skills and my craft. And then by the time you look up, you're just like, holy cow, it's been 6, almost 7 years. Doesn't even feel like it. Like time is going to go by so fast. Just be patient and stay busy and enjoy the little moments in life. And just make sure that each day you're focusing on what you can control, and what you can control is just moving the needle, taking action and moving the needle towards your dreams. So money doesn't buy happiness, but it can really alleviate a lot of stress. So don't forget that money's still important and that you should have it, because it's going to help you overall live a happier life. But money isn't everything. Don't sacrifice everything in order to get it. Keep your relationships, keep your health, and also build wealth, and then you'll live the ultimate life. So those are my lessons from the 29 years that I've been alive. Hopefully you guys have learned a little bit from that. Hopefully there's some golden nuggets that you can take out of it. I'm curious to see your thoughts. If you guys have any thoughts on anything I said, leave it in the comments. If there's any topics that you guys want us to hit on over our future episodes, or if there's a guest that you know of that would be a good fit for our podcast, or if you yourself are a good guest, shoot us a DM, leave us a comment. We'd love to have you on the show. This is stuff I love talking about. I love talking about business and sales and building wealth. So stay tuned. We've got some exciting things in the works that I want to be doing with this podcast. That's more in person. So if you guys listen to this, thank you from the bottom of our heart. Hopefully we can help build a bigger and stronger community with those that listen here in the near future. So till next time, we'll catch you guys later.
Welcome to the chase where the champions dwell. To the grind, to the hustle, the pursuit of wealth. Every story, every journey, every climb from the shelf. Here's to the drive, to the fight, to pursue the